line. Shooting Humvees. Fucking hell.
8 Ukrainian Humvees were seen making a rapid approach to the Russian-held front line, carrying heavily armed Special Forces personnel to conduct pressure operations in the most dangerous sectors. The convoy of lightly armored vehicles moved in tight formation through muddy paths and open areas, attempting to approach Russian defenses before being fully detected.
That's Russian.
The boom of heavy weapons shook the front lines as 8 Ukrainian Humvees advanced swiftly through the battle line, escorted by heavily armed Special Forces personnel. The operation initially appeared highly organized, an aggressive move to pressure the Russian position and repel the defending forces in the area. However, the situation changed within minutes. Russian forces, believed to have been monitoring the convoy's movements, began conducting precision strikes in succession on the Ukrainian vehicle's path.
What the fuck? Drop. Fuck.
At the start of the operation, Ukrainian movements appeared very aggressive. Special Forces personnel in the Humvees were deployed to reinforce pressure on the front lines and repel Russian units holding out in the area. From aerial surveillance, several vehicles were seen continuing their advance without stopping, even as explosions began to be heard around the convoy's path. However, the Russians apparently sensed this rapid approach. The battle escalated into an intense exchange of fire between Russian and Ukrainian forces along the convoy's approach path. After the first precision strike hit the area around the Humvees, Ukrainian Special Forces personnel immediately dismounted and spread out into several cover points, returning fire on detected Russian positions. The sound of automatic weapons fire rang out almost continuously. Ukrainian forces attempted to maintain the momentum of the attack by using the Humvees as mobile cover, while Russian units continued to press from higher, more concealed positions. From a distance, black smoke could be seen billowing from several points on the battlefield due to the continuous explosions. The situation escalated as reconnaissance drones began to play a significant role in the fighting. Both sides were believed to be using aerial surveillance to locate their opponents in real time. Any small movement was immediately met with mortar fire, light artillery, and precision strikes on Ukrainian positions. Here you can see one of the Russian troops firing ammunition at his friend who he thought was the enemy.
What the fuck? The fuck? The fuck?
Not far from the route of the previously attacked convoy, another battle broke out in the trench area, a key point on the front line. Several Russian troops were seen defending and hiding within a narrow network of trenches to avoid drone surveillance and pressure from Ukraine. Seeing this movement, Ukrainian units began slowly moving closer to the trench area, under the cover of fire from behind. Special personnel appeared to be taking advantage of the terrain and debris surrounding the battlefield to minimize detection. The situation in this sector became extremely tense as the distance between the two sides grew closer. Occasional short bursts of gunfire could be heard from the trench as Russian troops attempted to block the Ukrainian advance. However, Ukrainian troops continued to advance gradually, attempting to take control of the trench. In these conditions, control of the trench was crucial, as it could serve as both cover and a pressure point for subsequent operations. Smoke and dust continued to fill the surrounding area as both sides exchanged covering fire. Some Ukrainian soldiers were seen trying to secure the sides of the trench, while other units remained on the lookout for a possible counterattack from behind the Russian defenses. The battle in the narrow area turned into a close-quarters duel full of pressure, where every corner of the trench could be the point where the next threat could emerge. The situation on the front lines has now become much more intense. with Russian and Ukrainian forces reportedly only a few meters apart around the trench network. Gunfire is heard coming from all directions non-stop, as both sides continue to struggle to maintain their positions in a very narrow and tense area. Ukrainian troops, approaching the edge of the trench, are beginning to face direct resistance from Russian units, still holding their positions within the defensive lines. In these conditions, every small movement becomes extremely risky, as enemy positions are so close and could emerge at any moment from the trenches or cover of the ground.
Пустой! Пустой! Пустой!
Amid the chaos of the battlefield, communication between units becomes crucial. Ukrainian personnel are seen continuously providing fire cover to allow their comrades to advance gradually. Meanwhile, Russian troops attempt to withstand the pressure by utilizing the trench structures that provide natural cover from direct attacks.
Армен, Армен, у нас один півник, як прийняв прийом.
Grenade explosions and automatic fire fill the area with thick smoke, reducing visibility for both sides. Tensions are heightened by the lack of safe spaces around the front line. Any side of the trench could become a sudden point of contact.
Проверили еще раз по окопам, не дай бог. Прострелите каждого пидора, что лежит.
This is what makes the battle so intense. It was no longer a long-range duel using artillery, but rather a close-quarters clash in narrow terrain that forced both sides to defend under high pressure while constantly looking for gaps to take control of the opponent's defense area.
Заебись!
Amidst mounting pressure, Ukrainian troops began attempting to expand their control along the trench line to prevent a surprise Russian counterattack. Some personnel were seen moving quickly from one side of the trench to the other, while continuously monitoring for any remaining Russian units in the adjacent area.
Выйдите на дорогу, чтобы видно было.
Да мы тут высоко сейчас сядем, займем.
Хорошо, давай.
However, the situation remained extremely dangerous. Russian troops, positioned within the narrow trench network, continued to offer fierce resistance, firing short bursts of fire from concealed positions. Due to the close proximity of the two sides, firefights could occur within seconds, with any movement at the other end of the trench. The battlefield was filled with tension as both sides tried to gauge the direction of their opponent's movements. From the air, reconnaissance drones continuously monitored the battle and provided coordinates for positions around the front line. Occasional explosions were heard near the trench area as attacks targeted suspected temporary defensive points. Dust and smoke made it increasingly difficult to monitor the battlefield directly.
Are neutralized.
А? Выносите сюда его. А патронов нема, забей на него, пока выходишь. Давай, вводи. Денчик, завирай его.
Despite the immense pressure, Ukrainian units continued to maintain the momentum of the attack to prevent the Russian defense line from restabilizing. Meanwhile, Russian troops attempted to slow down their opponent's advance by holding strategic choke points within the trench network. This close-quarters battle turns into a test of endurance and reaction time. In such a tight and stressful environment, whoever reads the situation more quickly usually has a better chance of controlling the next battle area.
На дорогу! Так тройте, 466!